Hello guys, this is Paula. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a good day and enjoying all your videos watching. Okay, so I've had a very busy day, but I wanted to jump in and do a Christmas tag. I'm still doing Christmas journals. It feels like it's been Christmas forever already, and it's not even Christmas yet. But as long as there's a demand, I want to make sure everybody gets what they need. Okay, so we're going to do a tag. I just kind of put a bunch of stuff out and kind of decided, okay, let's do something. So I've got red and I've got green. Kind of more of a brownish green or maroonish green. It depends on what you want. So I thought I'd make a couple if we have time. We'll just see. Everything has already been inked, so you'll want to ink everything. There's really not any measurements. I just cut this paper, you know, the size of the tag, which is a 6.5 by 3. 6.5 by 3 is what the tag size is. Just took a red marker and just kind of did around the little cover of the punch toe. I'm going to move this one over, and now this may be too big, and I really feel like it is, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. I'm just going to bring my small Creative Memories chomper over here. Okay, so I want it to kind of come up a little. I want it to be right here, but maybe take a ½ inch off. That's what I'll do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and ink this part real quick. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to move this stuff because I don't want it to get wet. I'm going to spray this. What did I do with my water? There it is. This is my Distress Sprayer by Tim Holtz. And I'm going to spray this paper and get it damp. Now, you don't have to drench it. So, I'm just getting it wet, and I don't have anything here to dry it with. Okay, now, it is wet. So there's a wipey, so we'll just use that. Now I'm going to, I haven't done this in forever, so I'm going to take my shirt and dry. It's a real good thing for me to do there. Sorry guys. I'm going to just kind of, I want to kind of crinkle it, but don't tear it. I don't want to really tear it. And by wetting it, it allows you to kind of crinkle it up. And then I'm going to also roll some of the edges down. So I guess I am going to tear it. Let's move this over. I'm going to kind of tear it here, and it's going to show some of the, you know, I'm just kind of reshaping it. And there's no rhyme or reason. And I'm going to get some cheesecloth and trying to decide, I think I want to rough this up a little bit on the sides also. And I have a tool that does this, but it's wet now, so I really should have done it when it was dry, but I really like the way that looks. Look at that. You know, it's kind of peeling off some of the paper, which is fine. I want it to look shabby, or, you know, a little shabby. I don't want it completely torn, but just shabby. Okay, so now I'll bring the tag back. And I think what I'm going to do is put some cheesecloth underneath it. This isn't a huge piece, but it'll work. And I don't want the cheesecloth to be, I was getting tangled up in my chair. I'm sorry, guys. I had to push away for a minute. I want it to kind of just, I don't want it to be sticking out everywhere. Just a little bit, you know, here and there. So, kind of play with it until you get it where you want it. I don't want it to be the main focus, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I just want it to kind of show down here a little bit. And I'll pull this up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this down. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this off straight across and then mess with it, you know, as I glue it. Now, I am just going to kind of pull that up a little bit and pull this down a little bit. I hope that makes sense. Now, I'm going to get some glue, and I'm going to put the glue on the back of this, and then that way I know that it will hold. Now, I'm not putting it where the tear on the paper is, because I want that to still look torn, but I'm putting it everywhere else. This is going to be a surprise to both of us, or all of us, I should say. Okay. Now you're going to have to hold it down a little bit and let it have a chance to, you know, I'm going to kind of tear the corner a little bit and kind of tear that back a little. I like that look, but I have to be honest, I don't know that I've ever done that before. But you want some of these corners and stuff to kind of turn up, because that will help. I'm going to bring you in just a little bit. I want to make sure you can see. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm going to just trim this down the side of the tag, about where the tag is. And do the same thing on this side, because I don't want to have to mess with it the whole time. Okay, there we go. Now, okay, so now what I think I'll do is, I think I want to, I really wished I'd pulled some of that cheesecloth up to the top. See if I can get hold of it. Now that I think about it, I think it would have looked good with, there we go. I just want it to show all around, you know. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, now, I think what I'll do next is I punched out, well, I took, these are just Project Life or journaling cards, whatever you want to call them, of Santa and Away in the Manger. They're, you know, they're okay. They're nothing spectacular. And I meant to stitch around these. So whichever one we decide to use, I'll stitch really quick. And that way we can have, for some reason my light, okay, my sewing machine's not coming on. So I guess I'll pause you for 1 second. Alright guys, I'm sorry. I had to do that, but I guess probably Sadie turned off my power strip that went to my sewing machine. So, sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I punched out some of these little shapes, and I punched out mostly music sheet ones and inked them, and then I did punch out one in the cream when I was doing the tags. And this is a Creative Memories tag, so it's real short, and I've had it forever, and I thought we could use that. Now I'm going to rough I really want it dark on the edges. I think I'm going to come back over here and use some ground espresso. I want it to look kind of, I don't want to say grunge because it's not what I'm going for either, but just darker. And then I'm going to take my scissors again and kind of rough it up. Now, I'm only going to rough it up on the right side. Or your left, my right. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm just going to rough up the top and this side here, because I'm going to cover it with, but see, that gives it kind of a cool look. It also makes a mess, just so you know. And so I'm going to put that right in here, I think. And I trying to decide which one I want to start with. I'm thinking I want to start with this Santa, and I'm going to stitch him, but I'm going to kind of lay out what I want to do here. I think I'm going to let this hang over a little bit, and instead of I'm not going to grunge up the edge of him. I'm just going to darken this ink a little bit so that it kind of just pops. And then I'll use white thread on it. But I think that will make a difference in how that looks. Okay, now I'm going to put one of these, and I'm trying to decide if I want to use, because I'm going to put some poinsettias on here too. Do I want to use this, or do I want to use this? And because I'm going to put the poinsettias right in here and right here. Let me just lay it out and we'll decide. I'm going to put 2 small ones. I think that's what the plan is. I said I didn't have a plan. Well, I thought about it, you know. I think I'm going to bring this up a little bit and bring this down a little bit and to the right. And I'll probably do like this. Maybe put one up higher than the other. And then I was going to put one of the big ones, but look how big they are. That will be way too much. So I'll just get out another small one. And we may have to do a couple again. We'll just see. Or maybe we can do a couple here and one there. Maybe that's what we'll do. That way it's not so crowded. Now, because this has got music on it, I think it's going to keep us from being able to put any kind of title if we decide to. I don't have a title in mind, but because it's a Christmas tag, I might want to put something here. So I think I'm going to go ahead for this particular one, because it's my favorite Santa. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the this one. And I am going to grunge it up a little bit. I think it'll look better if we do. Not a lot, because it is an odd shape. I can't think of what this is called off the top of my head. But I know everybody has seen this punch. You can also get dies this shape. And I've got them also, but I can't think of what they're called. It's been a while since I've used the dies. I've kind of been spoiled to just using my punch. And it's by Paper Studio. Got it at Hobby Lobby. Okay, so there's that. You know what? I forgot to ink this first. Ink it with a darker. I just want to ink it on the edges, so I'll just go back over it real quick. And I'll use the scissors again real quick. But not so quick I tear it. Okay, now I'm going to lay this down while I stitch. I'm just going to stitch around this, guys, super fast. Then there's no more stitching. I just thought it would look better with a little bit of stitching on it. And we'll see. Okay, it won't take me very long. I like to think that I'm pretty fast at this. Okay. Of course, I have corners here that I have to deal with, because I already rounded the edges. Just a minute. It's the corners that kind of slow you down a little bit. And I'm not perfect at this by no means. Just FYI. I just do the best I can. You do get better at it though the more you do it. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can use a pin, you know, to, like we did on the video from yesterday, just do a faux stitch, and I mean that will look just as good, in my opinion. I mean, definitely does give you more texture if you can use a sewing machine, but if you can't, that's not a big deal. Okay, so done with that. Okay, so here you go, and you can see it's not perfect, but that's all right. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think it's super bright in comparison to the tag itself, because I have white thread in my machine, and I didn't, when I sat down here, I didn't plan on stitching, but I just thought the white. So what I think I'll do is I'll just kind of hit it with the ink a little bit. And one of the things I like about sewing with this type of work, this journaling and so forth, is that it doesn't have to be neat. You know, it can be grungy. You know, it is a junk journal. And so I'm going to kind of let this hang off a little bit, and I think I'll let the Santa hang off a little bit. So I'm going to glue the tag down first. Now, I'm not going to punch a hole. I just decided, let's see, I just decided that I want to do something different for the, instead of punching a hole, I thought I would, I'll show you. I'm going to get an old-fashioned, let me make sure I got that exactly where I want it. Yeah, that's good enough. And I'm going to get an old-fashioned, let me see where I don't want to put glue on. I don't want to put glue where it's going to hang off. That's for sure. So I'm going to do it like this. Just make sure I have plenty there. I'm going to do an old-fashioned snap. Do you guys remember those? Listen, these snaps came out of my mom's sewing basket. After she passed away, I brought her basket home, and I was going through it because I plan on doing like a sewing journal at some point this winter. And so I found the snaps in there, and I've seen people use snaps before. And there's like 2 in here. 2 or 3. The rest of them are hook and eyes. Do you remember those? Those are not something you hear of every day either. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and put a little dot of glue right in the middle of the tag. And then just drop the snap down. I wished it was something besides silver because it kind of stands out. Maybe I'll ink it up in a little bit and make it look a little grungier or something. You know something I forgot to do? I was going to stamp on my background. So I'll I'll remember to do that on the next one. Okay, so we're going to take this this tag, and I'm looking here as I'm talking, looking for a brown pen, but I don't know if I have one that is brown. It's not that common of a color, and I don't, so I'm gonna have to use black. But I'm gonna try to find a really fine black. See if I can. This is an Illustrated Faith pen. Oh, that's not fine. I know I have one that's fine, and this one's fine. I'll use that. This is Illustrated Faith, and it is, the tip is 0.25. So I just thought, and I mean lightly, very lightly, kind of do the same design around it, just lightly. Like, just barely let your pen touch, because I would have liked for it to be in brown, but just barely let your pen touch and do the same shape. I don't know, I don't know why, I just thought it looked like it needed that. Now, if you want to say something on here, if you want to handwrite something, you can. I don't know what I want to say. It says Merry Christmas on his little thing, but on the little card, but that's not going to, it's not going to be on there. It's not going to show, I guess is what I should say. So I'm going to glue this down, but I want to kind of arrange. I think I'm going to glue it kind of toward the right, but still leave a little bit of the red peeking out. And then I'm going to put that one poinsettia there. I don't know why, but this year I just like poinsettias. I've never liked poinsettias. I've never gotten into poinsettias at Christmas. But I don't know. I just like them. Okay. I think they make Christmas a little more elegant. Maybe that's what I think. I don't know. I don't know what I think. I have to discuss it with you. I obviously don't know. So I'm also out of red stained seam binding. So that means that I'll have to stain some. I thought I had it when I sat down to do the video, but all I have is green, and I don't think the green will look as good. So I'm going to glue this down right here, just showing on this side a little bit of the red, and trying to make sure I don't, and I'm not worrying about pressing the sides down that much, so it can kind of give it some texture. Mostly I just want it to be in the middle. I should have just glued it in the middle, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to glue this one down. Before I glue the others down, though, I'm going to glue this one down. I think I'm going to see if I can stamp on the edges. It may mess everything up, but oh well, it's just paper. Paper and embellishments. Okay, that should stay down now that I was trying to hold the bottom down and fluff the front back up. Okay, so before I put the other two poinsettias down, I think I'm going to move some of this stuff over, and I'm going to get this stamp out. Now, this stamp is by Heartfelt Creations, and it is a rubber stamp, and I'm trying to I don't even take it off of this. I use this for like my, whatever you call it, your thing that you put your ink, your stamps on. I'm once again going blank, but I'm just going to use some of this ground espresso on here. And hopefully I don't, you know, don't stamp on my, I'm going to flip something over. Let's flip this over so that we cannot, It may not even stamp on here at all because it's kind of bulky, but let's try it. Oh, there we go. Let me put a little bit more on there, on this one side. Okay. Well, what do you know? It didn't matter. That just goes to show we can do whatever in any order we want. Okay, there we go. Now, I'll set that aside and we'll do it hopefully in the correct order next time. Let me wipe this ink off so we don't have it all over the place. See, that looks a little better. There's nothing difficult about this. I'm going to put the other two poinsettias on. I mean, this is pretty simple. I guess if you wanted to put some sari silk on here somewhere, you could. I'm going to see, before I lay this down, I'm going to make sure I have everything where I want it. I'm going to hold it down a little bit. Okay, now we'll do the third one. And I'm just kind of spreading it out on the green portion on the back of the poinsettia. And then once it dries, we can fluff it back out. Okay, now, if we wanted, we could put sari silk. Like we could have wrapped it, or we could have, you know, we could have done a number of things, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you with the green. Now, mind you, there is a green-like color here, and there is green in the Santa's shirt. So we could use the green. And if I'm lazy, we may use the green. So I'm going to go ahead and I just want to just tie a little knot or something on here. Nothing fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy. You could tie a bow. You know, my thing is that I like to do with seam binding is I like when I ink it, like I inked this, but it's been in a bag. I may wet it and crunch it up a little bit. Whoops, good grief. I just picked up my scissors and knocked everything over. Okay, now, and I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover up our little tag and see if I can't save that, the rest of that for, I'm going to wet it a little bit. I'm going to hold it upside down so I don't spray toward my, and actually I'm going to spray here and then wet my seam binding. And if you notice, it kind of turned my table a little green because it's, I don't know what, even my Kleenexes are missing. Anyway, so you just take it and scrunch it up. Like if you wanted to make, if you have curly hair, I do have naturally curly hair. You would never know it to look at any of my pictures, and I don't wear it curly normally. But on lazy days, I just scrunch it up and let it go. And it does just fine. But, yeah, see, I'm just going to kind of get it all up there and kind of smash it around. And then it will dry like this. Okay, so tag number 1. And we're 20 minutes in. So this is really pretty simple. So the first thing we're going to do this time is stamp. I'm going to cover up this glue because my fan is going because, you know, it's that time of year whenever you just, you know, you get hot and then you get cold. Then you get hot and then you get cold. It's kind of irritating, honestly. Okay, so I'm just stamping up on the top and on the bottom. I'm not going to worry about stamping the whole thing. I don't know how it will turn out, so we'll see. Ah, perfect. But this is too high. So, let's just pull this up a little bit and stamp down lower. There we go. And kind of over there. Well, that one didn't work. I don't mean to block your way here, but there we go. Okay, so now I gotta wipe up the ink, but at least we did it in the right order. I think this time, and I don't know, you guys can help me. I think this time we'll use green, just to be different. And I am gonna cut off some of that, just like we did last time, only I'm gonna do it the easy way. I'm gonna ink this a little bit, like it's gonna make that much difference. And I'm going to wet it. And again, it doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't take much for your paper to give in, if you know what I mean. And different papers do differently. This is a double-sided paper, so you know, it's got its own little, it's heavier than what you'd get at Hobby Lobby or something. Now, I am going to tear this up here again and kind of work it down. And it's going to show the red plaid from the other side, which is good because that'll look cute. And I'm going to take my scissors, if I can find them. They're under something somewhere. There they are. And I'm going to rough it up. Now remember, it's wet, so you don't want to tear a big hole in it, but you do, you know, you have to be, some areas might not be as wet as others. Okay. I like when it shows, see how it shows the white there? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Am I not in camera? I am so sorry. I forget when I zoom in. Sometimes I'll get so involved that I'll forget that Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to put, again, we're going to put some sari silk, if I can find it. There it is. Underneath, just so it has something peeking out. It doesn't have to be, like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be an abundance of it. Just enough that it sticks out at the top a little bit and at the bottom a little bit. That's my goal. I think I'm going to do it the short direction so that maybe I have some sticking out up here and then some sticking out down here. If I can get it to hold still and quit moving on me, it would sure help. Okay, there we go. Let's see what that looks like. Now, again, your paper is wet, so, you know, we're going to put glue on wet paper because we don't have time to dry it. And, you know, I don't want to make us have to sit here and wait on me to dry it. Now, I'm not getting real close to the edges because I really just want it to glue and leave the edges up a little bit. Now, if there's a part of this that has too much sari silk, you just can take it and tuck it under while you're gluing. I don't really want it to come out the corners. I just kind of want it to stick out where the paper's torn. And you got to make sure your paper doesn't slide over too far. And just kind of hold it down so that it can, I'm trying to, what I do when I tear paper is I just kind of take it and I go two different directions with my fingernails. And that kind of, it will kind of tear, you know, make it look a little worn. And then I just kind of pull it back so that it, and it's okay if the paper is scrunchy. When I say scrunchy, I mean wrinkled, scrunched together. And then I'm going to trim off the sari silk. And, whoopsie, I don't want that out, so I'm going to stick it under. I'm And then I can always add some more glue right there if I need to. I know in my head what I want to do. Doesn't always mean my brain will pick up on it, you know. I'm going to back out a little bit so you guys can see better. There. Because I can't seem to stay in view. Okay, so we're going to do our tag again, and I'm going to use the espresso, ground espresso, just around the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to rough it up on this side, a little bit on the bottom, and then across the parts that will show. Okay, now we're going to have that right here. Oh, I want to rough it up a little bit more. I think we can rough it up a little bit more there. Okay, so then if you notice, I'm getting way rougher. Now, this is a music sheet. It's Away in the Manger. And I just want to, I don't know though, when I think about it, if we do this, it's awfully big. I think I'm going to go back to this Santa, this other Santa. That way it'll go with just any kind of book. Now, on this one, I'm not going to stitch on the machine. I'm going to faux stitch. And it's going to be on the red line here. But I'm not going to do it this second. Now, see, this is a bigger tag. So I'm going to bring that down and this up. I didn't realize it was that much bigger. I could trim. I like that green on there, though. I could trim some of it off. Let's see what, we may regret it and we may not. Let's see if I can trim it and make it look like it's been, I'm not real good at doing the corners. But I'll try. Doesn't matter if it's perfect. As I do this, I'm thinking, if this isn't perfect, or at least straight, I'm tossing it. Yeah, I didn't get the top part exactly straight, but it's close enough. Now we are going to have to ink it again. I think it's better than it was because it was going to hang off way too much, and I don't think it would have looked as good. Okay, I'm not real worried about the corners, honestly. Let me kind of straighten this one up a little bit. I think I got it not quite as perfect as the others, but that's all right. Okay, now we'll do the ground espresso, which is going to practically cover the green, but that's all right. We know that red and green goes together at Christmas, and that's all we need to worry about. Okay, see, that looks better because it's not taking up the whole space. Plus, it will allow us to use our music on here this time. And we're just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some ink on here, and I'll rough this up a little bit. And that way we can, but I'm going to show you how you don't have to have a sewing machine to do the same tag, basically, is what I'm saying here. And I'm just going to rough this up around the edges to give it more of a grungy look. I think you know, Tim Holtz has one part of his scissors is sharper and the other is kind of ridged, has a little bit of a ridge on it. I don't know that much about his scissors other than I like them, and I have every size. And I have like the new black ones in the large size because I never thought that I would be someone that would use large scissors because, you know, you think small, it's easier on your hands. But honestly, I like the large, I've discovered, because you can make longer stitches. I mean, not longer stitches, you have longer strides on your cutting, and it just looks, it looks lots better. Like you can just cut longer areas, and it's great. Okay, so now this is going to go right here, but I'm going to get my Illustrated Faith pen and do the whole, just barely touch, and you know, you can do it like stitches, or you can do long lines. Just, you don't want it to be perfect, so it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. If you mess it up in one area, that's okay. Just don't worry about it. Okay, there's that. Now, we're going to put that on here. I'm going to glue a snap. I think I have another one in here. I have one that's smaller. And it's actually both pieces, so let's see. Boy, that's bright, isn't it? Okay, let me put some glue on there, just in the very middle. Okay, I'll have to work with that and make it darker once it's completely dried. Don't ask me how, I don't know. I'll come up with something. I'll just probably put ink on it. Okay, so there is that. So the next thing we're gonna do is glue this tag on. Now, if you wanted to put lines on the tag, like stitch marks, you could. I just think that it's too much if you do the Santa. I think it's too much to do the other portion too. So bringing it down about middle of the card, the tag. And now we're going to do the Santa. Okay. And I shouldn't have put glue on that one side. So I'm going to take my finger. Listen, my hands stay filthy. I feel like I wash them and wash them and wash them, and they never. I'm going to kind of put that under the torn area. There we go. Now, we're going to glue this down. I should have, and I didn't think about it, I should have done that ground espresso around the green, the base. I can go back and do it around the actual tag, and I will. Now, I'm just using poinsettias. I just feel like that's the easiest thing to do, if I can get them out. And I love these little poinsettias. I mean, there's not much to them, but they're just really cute. Okay, now we're going to glue this one down. Oh, before we do that, we got to get our pin and do the faux stitching. Now, mind you, I'm just going to do, it's not going to show that much. I'm just really trying to make a point that you don't have to have a sewing machine if you want. Now see, I could bring this in more on the actual photograph and it would probably stand out better, but I don't want it to be that obvious. It's kind of like on the last one, I just used white thread because I wanted it to be subtle, I guess is what I'm saying. But now you can tell the difference then, you know, before we added that. So it does make even those little subtle things make a difference. And I think that's one of the things I love about this craft, is just little things, they stand out. I'm trying to think what I want to put on here as far as tags, if I end up putting anything at all. I think that even though I use the the green seam binding. And I'm going to put it on here too. I'm still going to go back and do some red at some point before I put it in a book. Well, it really depends on the book. You know, if there's a book, I don't even have a book in mind. This is just something I wanted to make. I thought it'd be fun. Give us something new to do. I did a tag yesterday. I thought we could do tags again. Well, it really wasn't a tag. It was a pocket. But I thought it'd be fun to do something different. Now, I'm going to take this ground espresso and go around the tag itself also to make it a little darker. There we go. Now, believe it or not, well, I better not wet this before I put it in. I was going to wet it before I put it in the hole, but now that I think about it, I don't think I am. I don't think we need as much as I used last time. You'd be amazed at how far your seam binding can go. And I've really used a lot of red and green. And I've used a lot of twine, red and green twine, making my books this season, but you don't have to have as much as you might think on here, you know. Now I'm going to hold it upside down and wet it. Well, I think I'm going to put it down here. And then I can just scrunch it up. I don't know. It's, you know, I know that's how I do it whenever I color it. I go ahead and I just squeeze the ink out of it. I put on gloves and I squeeze the ink out of it. And, yeah, there we go. Okay, so tag number 2 and tag number 1. Let me come back a little bit. Let me see if I can lay them down. See, this one I forgot to put the ground espresso on. I think it makes a difference on how it pops. There we go. I think you'll see the difference. I'm going to cut this string because it's hanging in Santa's eyes, and that just isn't going to work. Okay, this one's sticking up, so I just want it to look kind of scrunchy. I really like it when it's just like in a knot, you know, just scrunched up in a knot. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off of here because we've been on here close to an hour, and I don't want to bore you guys. Now, these will be, watch for these in a future book, and I'll be back tomorrow. I have a another project that's nothing groundbreaking but fun to journal on. So and that is the point of these. After all, we can journal on the back. So all right, guys, I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. You guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.